Hi, I'm David from WorkSmart. Welcome to the Cost of Classroom Training video. In this video, I'll take you through the potential cost of training a large group of entry-level employees. Be prepared, the cost is probably a lot more than you think. First, we'll do the math on the cost of training 100 employees in a classroom for 5 days. So let's say an entry-level banker earns a salary of $58,000. Now the total employment cost to the bank will be about 20 to 25% higher because of the cost of benefits, payroll and other taxes, pensions, and of course unemployment costs. So a $58,000 salary equals about $70,000 in the annual employment cost. Next, we have to figure out the daily cost of this employee. So we need the number of working days in a year. Start off with, there are 365 calendar days in a year, but about 104 of these are weekends and there are 11 stat holidays. When you add in vacation of, let's say, 3 weeks or 15 days, you're only left with 235 working days in a year. So let's divide the annual employment cost of $70,000 by 235 days, and that gets you the daily employment cost of this employee, or about $300. Put 100 of these employees through 5 days of classroom training, so that's 500 working days at a cost of $300 a day, and that costs $150,000. And of course, this is going to be the cost whether the training happens in one location during 1 week, or it's spread throughout the country and it happens over different periods of time. And here's the bad news. That's just the cost of the employee's time. The travel-related expenses can double that. So let's take a look at 3 different cost categories: travel, hotel, and food. We'll start with travel. Employees have to get to and from the training. So the cost of the cab fare to and from the airport, both ways, plus airfare is, let's say, $500 per person. For 100 people, assuming that everyone is traveling, that's $50,000. Now let's look at hotel. $100 a night for 5 nights. For 100 employees, that's another $50,000. Same thing with food. $100 a day for food per employee for 5 days, and that's yet another $50,000. So depending on the number of employees who have to travel, the travel costs can be $150,000. So you've got $150,000 for time and the same amount for travel, and the cost of 5 days in a classroom can be $300,000. There are a number of moving parts in this calculation, so your numbers may be different, but the cost of classroom training is probably higher than you thought. And this cost doesn't include the lost productivity of 500 working days where pipelines are not being developed, clients are not being serviced, and loans are not being made. So for the owner of a business line and for training professionals, there are 2 questions you should be asking yourself. The first is, are you getting value from that investment? For that amount of money, the training had better be excellent and immediately translate into business results. Unfortunately, the research shows that less than 15% of training participants actually use their training on the job. So a large part of your training investment is probably wasted. Now, you can improve the results by using a higher quality training program. I cover this issue, what are the characteristics of high quality training, in another video on this site. The second question is, can you reduce this cost while actually improving the training outcome? You can, and I show you how to do this in the Train Before They Start video. Thanks for watching this video on the cost of classroom training. Be sure to watch the Train Before They Start video to see how these costs of training can be cut dramatically. And please contact us to see how we can make your people better, because better people mean better results.